Hey everyone, thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. I have a 12 by 12 scrapbooking process to share with you. And I'm starting out here today with a piece of plain gray cardstock. And I wanted to create a gessoed or a white distressed background. And that's pretty tough to do, obviously, when you're working with a white paper. So I wanted to just use this really light gray as my background. And you can just see here I'm taking my brayer and I'm picking up the gesso that I've placed on my craft mat there to the left, and I'm just going to take that and roll that across almost like I'm painting a wall. And I'm just going to adhere that down to my gray paper and just kind of really create this distressed background. And I really like how this is going to look when it's all finished. Once that's all dry, I'll be ready to begin work on the rest of my layout. I'm actually going to take my sewing machine and I'm going to do 2 circle stitches off camera, 2 really messy circles, one at the top of the layout and one at the bottom. And they're going to kind of intersect in the center. But my photograph and all of my layers are going to basically cover up the center of where those circles intersect. And you'll just see the stitching at the top of the top circle and the bottom of the bottom circle. So you can kind of watch for that. I do that off camera, but you'll be able to see that detail on camera. And so if you're wondering what I did there, that's all I did. I just added a couple of areas of circle stitching. Now I'm going to take this stencil and I'm going to add some Vicky Bouton art crayon. So I've just got the Vicky Bouton stencil. I've picked up the art crayon on that little piece of plastic that comes with a stencil brush. And this is one of the teal colored crayon. And this is one of the colors that will be in the color palette that I'll be working with today. So I'm just creating with that stencil there, and then I'm going to grab another stencil. This one is from the Crafters Workshop and it's called, just looking here, it's called Journal Musings, and it's a 6x6 stencil. And I just wanted the appearance of a sun in that top corner. And so I just stenciled there with the yellow crayon. Now I'm going to take a Carabelle Studio stamp. This one is called Collage Figure 0.36. I'm going to do some 2nd generation stamping here with some gray archival ink in 2 areas. So you can see that I did that stamping there at the bottom on the right and on the top left where that sun stenciling is. Now I'm going to take my gray paper. I'm going to size it down 1/4 of an inch on all 4 sides. And I'm going to do that because I'm going to use another piece of paper to frame the layout in. So you'll just see here, there's that paper that I'm going to use as a frame. It's a Simple Stories paper from, I think it's called Faith, or it's from a Faith collection. I'm not really sure. I had this in my stash and it's been in my stash for quite a while, but I really love this tone of navy and I like that it has that text on it and it's perfect for what I wanted to do with it here today. So I'm going to just put my adhesive on the back of my gray paper and I'm going to adhere that down and center that as best I can onto that navy paper. And there you can see that provides a nice frame for my layout. Now I think you should kind of be able to see that stitching on there as well. And now I'm just showing you, I wanted to create some more texture on my layout. This time I wanted to work in the areas opposite where the stamping is. So the stamping that I've done is in the top left and bottom right. And so I'm going to use this stencil and some texture paste in the opposite corners. So this stencil is called Crazy Waves and it's a Gabrielle Polacco stencil from the Crafters Workshop. And I'm just taking some Ranger texture paste and I'm just running the paste through the stencil vertically so that those crazy waves are in a vertical pattern going up and down. And I just really love the texture that this adds to the layout. And it's pretty subtle because it's white, but I just really love it. And I'm just going to show you a close-up there. I'm not sure if you're really able to see that well, but I am going to have close-up shots, still shots at the end of this video that you can check out that texture. Now I'm going to take my photo that I've printed here in black and white and I'm going to do 2 different mats for the photo here. The first one's going to be in navy blue, which is going to complement that navy frame that I used for the layout. I'm just sizing that down a tiny little bit and then you'll see me adhere that again to a piece of gray just gray cardstock. It doesn't have any texture, pattern, or anything on it. And I just wanted that to kind of go along with the gray paper that's in the background here. So I'm going to just stick that down. I'm going to size that down and make sure that it's nice and straight. And I can't remember the dimensions of this photo. It's smaller than 4 by 3. Maybe it's like 3.8 by 2.8 or something like that. And I like this size of photo. I think it's great, and it works well with this specific photograph and the shape of the photo, or I guess the subject of the photo. And in this case, it's Jordan. It's a close-up of him. I think he was in Prague when this picture was taken, and he's eating 3 chocolate-covered strawberries on a stick. Which looks extremely delicious. Anyways, I love this photograph, and the Pack Your Bags collection from Carta is perfect for this layout because it's a travel collection. So all of the different die cuts and like that tag that I'm using here to layer with and so on are from that collection. Most of the papers are as well, but that patterned paper that you can see that's running vertically, that's white with a geometric pattern, is from an older Pink Fresh collection. And then that pattern paper that's now running vertical with the arrows on it is from crepe paper here and there. So you can just see how I'm starting to build some pattern paper layers behind my photograph. And now I'm just going to grab some of the die cuts from the Carta collection, Pack Your Bags. And I'm just going to kind of place those where I think I might want those to go, just to get an idea of where I want everything to go before I commit to sticking everything down. Now those little circle pieces, the top one's actually a die cut from the collection, and then the bottom one is a navy piece of paper that's the same as the other navy paper there, which I've just cut using a circle punch. I'm going to take that die cut Explore piece and I'm going to use that, and I'm also going to use one of the dies from the dies in that Carta collection as well. I love these little dies. They're so perfect for working with on a scrapbooking layout, because you know you can create all kinds of different really fun things with titles and so on. And you know the beautiful thing about a die is you can just keep using it over and over and over again, right? So that's genius. I think that's a really neat thing that I think Echo Park Carta collections have started doing, is having these dies that go along with their collections, and I love that. So I end up using the word escape, and I'm going to actually cut it out of some red cardstock because I wanted a little bit more red than what I have on the layout so far. So I just felt like I should kind of continue that somewhere else. So I take that die and I cut it out 3 times. And then I glue those 3 escape words together just so they're a little more dimensional. And now you can see that I'm going to use a little bit of craft foam on the back of my photograph to pop it up here and give it a little bit more dimension. And I'm just going to put a paperweight on there while that liquid glue just dries a little bit and gets stuck there. And meanwhile, I'm going to start to commit to laying down and gluing down some of these other bits and pieces and get them in place. You'll notice that the top layer, I always end up with, you know, the very, very top piece that I put on and layer on is going to have some dimensional adhesive on it. And that's a really good trick. If you're, you know, you're thinking about, well, you know, what can I do with my layering to make it look more interesting? Definitely #1 recommendation is to use adhesive, foam adhesive on those pieces. And my favorite foam adhesive, well, it's kind of a tie. I really like the Stampin' Up! Dimensionals, and I also really love the 3M foam tape that comes on the Great Big Jumbo roll. I use that all the time for card making and in my scrapbooking. And then of course there's the cheapy Walmart sheets of craft foam that you can get, and I use those lots too for backing my photos and such. So there, I'm just going to find a home for all of these little bits and pieces and try to put them mostly where, you know, where 2 pieces are sort of joining together and you've got sort of like an awkward little space. These little dimensional pieces are really great for filling in those little areas where you've got 2 pieces coming together and it creates kind of like a little corner. That's a great spot to put your embellishments. So now I've got that Explore piece there as well. I like how that's looking. And now I'm just going to take a couple of little pieces and tear up the edges of the paper. I'm going to take a little bit of scrap of that map paper and stick that in just to kind of make it look like, oh, there's a little surprise under there. Look at it, it's a different paper. It's actually only a tiny little chunk of paper, and that way you can use up some of your scraps and you don't have to cut, you know, a big piece or use a piece from a big piece. So I'm going to just staple that down and add that little extra texture with that staple. I'm going to do that same kind of thing, sort of like in a diagonal from the one that's on the bottom, so that it takes your eye right through the photograph and the story. And I'm just going to staple that down quickly. I am going to create my journaling here with some journaling strips on my computer. You'll see that here in a minute. Now I wanted to add something to the hole in that tag. So what I did was I just took a piece of ribbon from my stash that's complementing the color scheme. This is a ribbon that has stitching in it, which I love even more because it just adds even a little more interest. And I'm just going to use a couple of staples and staple that to the tag. Now I'm just going to take a little bit of liquid adhesive and make sure things are stuck down. And now you'll just see where my journaling is going to go there. So I just cut my journaling up into strips and I glued it down with my liquid adhesive there. And now I'm just going to take some of the stickers from the sticker sheet from the Pack Your Bags collection, and I'm going to work a few of those stickers in. And in a little bit, you're going to see that I add a little bit more stenciling. You can see that that stenciling is really prevalent at the top with that aqua and yellow, or the teal and the yellow, but there's nothing at the bottom, and I just did not like how that looked. So I'm going to add some of that, and you'll see that here. I'm just showing you the stickers I added, which just add a little bit more interest. And there's going to be a little bit of transition here, and you can see that I'll show you the stenciling I added just to get more of a vertical line going, just to kind of create a little more cohesiveness from the top and the bottom there. Guys, that's my layout for today. I hope you enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun working with this travel picture of Jordan from when he was about 16, I'd say, on a trip to Europe that he took. I think this photo, if I haven't said already, I think this was taken in Prague, which I think was his favorite place on the trip. Thanks so much for stopping by today. I really appreciate it, and have an amazing day, and I hope to see you another time. Bye-bye.